What's up, everybody? It's your boy Season. So today, we've got Mazinkaiser SKL from CCS Toys, and today that's what we're going to be taking a look at. This one took a little while for me to get in because there was a lot of problems with shipping, but of course I'll get into that a little bit later. But we're not going to waste any more time on this guy, so let's go. So let's see what we have inside here. Now I'm gonna have to shoot this a little bit differently than I normally would just because of the size. The box is humongous. I would say it's about 1.5 times bigger than the Great Mazinkaiser box. So unfortunately, it's just humongous. So I have to even stand up to do this. So what we've got here is we've got the cover art that CCS Toys does. That is great cover art there. It looks amazing. I love it. And let's see, because usually on the limited editions, they usually have a hand drawing. And it looks like that's what we've got here for Mazinkaiser SKL. So that looks really, really good. To be honest, I was shocked how much I missed this kind of stuff when I did the Mazinger Zero, because that one's not the limited edition version. So it didn't come with the cover, and I was like, where's the art? But that one looks really, really good. So I like that. So we'll move that to the side here. All right. Then of course we've got the manual there. So that's pretty run of the mill, so nothing crazy. Too bad, I wonder if we get one of those series plates that they had with Great Mazinkaiser. I'd be interested to see if they do that. But yeah, so you've got the manual there. Then we have pieces of his cape. So you've got that, you've got the chains here. You've got the, that's probably part of his staff or whatever that he's got. So you've got quite a bit of stuff here. It's humongous, so. But it looks really good so far. Then we've got the bat wings here. So you've got those there. You've got the, I want to call this like the serpent sword or something like that. So you've got that, the pieces for the gun there. You've got the other part of his cape here. This is the back part that's got the face of it, of that one girl in there. So you've got that. So looks really, really nice so far. And then we have the hands. So this has the hands here. So you've got quite a few sets of the repulsor hands, as I call them. You've got the extra face, the face that has, that's the blue one there. So you've got that there. And then you got the parts for the gun. So you got those there. And look, this is part of the stuff for the stand. So we've got those. And then lastly, we have Mazinkaiser SKL himself. So of course this is taped in right now, but we will pull him out momentarily here. So you've got that there. Looks like you've got the extra, you got the stand in here. You got the big sword there. Let me cut this out real quick. All right, so let's take a look at this thing. Let's lift this off of here. All right, let's move that out of the way. So of course you have the stand and stuff here. There's Great Mazinkaiser himself. Great Mazinkaiser. You've got Mazinkaiser SKL. I have a feeling I'm gonna be mixing up my Mazingers and stuff during this review, so I apologize. Oh man, he's heavy, so pause. But he does look really solid there. So we've got him there. Let's see. And then of course you got the flaming skull thing here. So you've got that. So that looks pretty cool. You got parts for the stand there. And then let's take a look at this big old sword here. All right, so take that and put that out of the plastic. Okay, so of course we can pull that out. Wow, so there's the other sword there. So you got that. So not really heavy actually. I'm surprised how light it is considering how big it is. So that looks really cool. So, okay, so what we'll do is we'll get this stuff out of the box and we'll take a look at the manual next. So let's take a look at this manual here. So of course, I was able to get this in relatively quickly once I was able to track it down. So of course, this is your parts count here. So he's got a lot of different accessories. This may be the most accessories in one figure that I have, except for maybe like the crossbones, the metal build crossbones. Those have a lot of accessories as well. But yeah, so you've got all that. So you got the instructions here on how to do the powder there, and it looks like the place for the guns and the different hands and stuff like that. So you've got that. Looks like you've got the parts for the cape and the wings there, and then the accessories as far as the big sword. And then I think that's called the serpent sword, if I'm not mistaken. So you got that, and then of course it's got the part for the batteries here. So one thing I like about CCS Toys, their stuff does come with batteries, so that's good. So you don't have to get them on your own. So you've got that, and then of course you got the part for the flaming skull there, and then you've got the parts for the stand there. So that's pretty much it. Looks like you've got, now I forget what the translation for this is, but I think in Mazinkaiser SKL it's either like go to hell or we're from hell or something like that. So it's something like that. But anyway, so as far as me getting Mazinkaiser SKL, a little bit of history on this guy. Mazinkaiser SKL was the first thing from Mazinger that I ever saw. And I want to say it was back in like 2011, 2012, somewhere around in there. And they just had it, they had it on some website that I saw it at. And to be honest, I didn't really like the anime all that much. I just didn't like it all that much. But I will admit that Mazinkaiser SKL was really dope in that. So he looked really, really good. I would say he was very metal for those people in America. Like, he definitely in the American version of the anime, I remember them having a lot of heavy metal music in it and stuff. And even though that's not really my bag, you know, I can appreciate it. So, you know, it was really, really cool as far as his look and everything, but as far as the story, I didn't really like it all that much. But as far as me getting him in, I originally got this with a American distributor, and I could not get it anywhere. This one was very hard to track down. And so I kind of went against my better judgment and went ahead and pre-ordered it with an American retailer. That was a mistake. I had to wait for this thing for almost 2.5 months. And one thing about me is that I really don't like waiting when it comes to releases and stuff. I don't know, maybe that's just the kid in me. I don't want to wait. I'm very impatient when it comes to those things. So I don't have to get it first, but I do have to get it relatively quickly. The American retailer, and that's no shade to them, it was just there apparently was some sort of delay with Mazinkaiser SKL. So a lot of people outside of China did not get this guy in October. A lot of times, some people got it in mid-November, at the end of November, and you know, December, et cetera, et cetera. So, but the American retailer was gracious enough to let me out of my pre-order because I was able to find one in Japan. I went to HobbyLink Japan. They had some extra ones. I keep telling you guys, don't sleep on HobbyLink Japan. HobbyLink Japan is definitely a go-to spot. I talked about that in another video, but you know, you can get a lot of your stuff there. And even if the pre-order says that the order is stopped, you never know, because some people may cancel their orders and things of that nature. So it is something that you do want to check on from time to time. But anyway, so that's enough of me rambling. But yeah, they were able to send it out and I got it in 2.5 days. So I didn't have to wait very much longer after that. So that's it for the manual. So what we'll do now is we'll take a look at Mazinkaiser SKL himself. So let's take a look at some of the detail work here for Mazinkaiser SKL. Now, the thing about this guy is that he is pretty much a remold of Great Mazinkaiser. I did a review of him on the channel earlier this year. And so he pretty much is a remold of him. So he definitely has different things to him, but the basis of him is Great Mazinkaiser. So of course he's got the gold here in his chest. there. That's also where your battery goes. The shoulders here. Now the shoulder armor was a little difficult to put on. Of course, I don't have him with all of his accessories and stuff on because we just want to take a look at the detail work. But I really do like the face there. The face there looks really, really solid with that. And you do get an extra face that has like his eye all busted up. So you do have that. You got a lot of gold accents in here with the skull in here. And so even though it is Mazinkaiser SKL, I see a lot of great Mazinkaiser in here. So you got that part there. Of course, you've got the elbows here, the repulsor hands, as I've talked about in other videos. So of course, those are all articulated. So I really do like that as well. Now with the shoulders can be a little bit difficult to put on here. But what I've found is the easiest part in order to do this is pull the arm out. Pull the arm out, then put this on, because there's a little ball joint in there, but it has to be laying flat. That's the only way that this will connect on. And unfortunately, it makes it a little loose, but it's not too bad. It still is on there. So, you know, you've got that there. So he does look really good. Really good. He looks like kind of Mazinger Zero as far as his, because he's kind of like a gunmetal gray or black there. So, you know, you've got that. You got the gold accents here on the towards the feet there. With the feet for Mazinkaiser, it was always kind of difficult because it's very, very stiff. This one seems to be a little bit looser, so it could have been just that one. But, you know, you've got that there. So he looks really solid, I must admit. So they did a really good job here. So what I will do a comparison with Great Mazinkaiser a little bit later, but since we've got so much stuff to go through, we're gonna take a look at his accessories. So we'll do that next. So let's take a look at Mazinkaiser SKL's accessories, and he's got a ton of them. So first up, we have the skull powder. So of course, this is the plane that sits in Mazinkaiser's head, but this one can also become a plane. So in order to do that, you have to kind of take this and split it. All right, and it's quite small, but you know, it does look pretty cool. So you've got that. You switch the wings over that way, and there you have it. So it's kind of like his wing plane. So you've got it like that. So that's your skull powder. So that's what he'll look like. So he'll look like that. And then we can grab his extra head, since I've got to talk about that anyways. So you just take that and then that rest in here. Make sure that that goes in there right. There you go. Boom, just like that. So that's what he looks like. And of course, this is also his second head. So this is the head that has the eye missing. If you've seen the show, he gets like a spear or something shot through that eye. So you do have that as well. So, you know, it does look really, really cool. So that's what you have for those two. So next up, we have the Genzato. I think that's how you pronounce it. And this one is, it's a big sword, but it's not really that heavy. So, you know, of course, he's got his sharp edge here. He's also got the shark teeth this way as well. And then also you can pull out this sword as well. And then that is your, so here, this is the snake belly sword, I guess is the translation for this. And you get two versions of this. So this is the one that goes inside the Genzato. And this one does not move, so it's not movable, but it is a smaller version of that. And then you also get the larger movable version as well. So you get that one there. So that one's a lot bigger. So let's put this other one down here. And then this one you can kind of bend to your will there. So that's pretty cool. So you've got that. So this is almost looks like a whip, so to speak. So that's what you have for the Genzato and the snake belly sword. Then next we have the brush triggers. So this goes on Mazinkaiser SKL's chest area. So these are two handguns that he used quite often in the show. Now with these are connected by magnets, so they will stick together like that. And usually the skull would be in the center here, and we'll do that a little bit later. But you do have that also with these. You can pull the rounds out, so they are a little bit smaller, but you do have those, so those can go in and out that way. So you have those. So that looks really, really cool. So that's what you have for the breast triggers. Then next we have the wing cross. Now this part is the connection part for the backpack, and this will go on his back. You can put the bat wings on here, or the wings parts. So you've got that. If you pull this down, and let's see if I can get this closer here, if I can get some light on there. You can pull that down, and then that's the face there for that. And of course, if you've seen the anime, you know what that's all about, but you've got that there. So of course, in order to put this all together, what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this, put these on the sides. If I can get that in there, snapped in there. Take that for the other one. Put that in there. Like that. All right. So you've got that part, and then we're gonna take the wings. So that's what you want it to look like there, and then we're gonna put the wings on. So of course you would take these, snap these in here. All right, like that. Let's grab the other side here. Put that in there like this. Put that in there real good. So of course now you have the wings. So of course that would be pretty wide there. So looks really, really cool. I must admit, the wings do move in and out. So you can do it that way. So that looks really nice there. And then you can move these in and out as well. So pretty cool for the backpack. And then one last thing that you can do for this guy, you can put the tail on. So you can take this, open that up, and then you can bring this down. I don't have any nails right now, but you can kind of get that in there. So that's your connection piece. And then you take the movable serpent's tail or snake belly sword and connect that in here like that. Let's put that in there good. And then of course you can move that. So let's see if I can get a good shot of that. So that's what you've got for that. So that is his entire backpack there. So we just put it together on camera. So that's what you have for the wing cross. Then next we're gonna create the breast tomahawk. So this is what this piece is for. So in order to create the breast tomahawk, we're going to need the breast triggers. So what we'll do is we'll take those out here, and then we're gonna pull out the magazines. All right, and then we're gonna do it this way, and then this connects, and then this connects. This slot here goes into this piece here. So we'll take that, put that in there like that, and do the same with the other one. Pull the magazine out. All right, and then face this, put these in together, just like that. All right, there we go, boom. All right, so you got that part, and then you're gonna have these two other pieces here. All right, so you got these two here, and then what these do is these go where the magazines went in. So they kind of go in like this. All right, and then put that in like that, and boom. All right, so you got this part here. Then we're gonna take this pole. All right, put that in there. All right, just like that. And then you've got this part here. Oh, if I can get that to focus, all right. And we got this part here. So that becomes the breast tomahawk. So, and he can use that kind of like a staff. So that's what you've got for the breast tomahawk. Then next you have the effect part for the Inferno Blaster. Now in the show, I don't remember this being a flaming skull. It was just kind of like a flash of light, but I mean, this is a added twist. I do like that. So I could be wrong about that. Like I said, I'm not really a super big fan of the anime, but I do remember him using this, but I don't remember there being a flaming skull. But this can be lit up, but we will look at that during the lighting section. So, but that's what you have here. So it's a nice little effect part with the flaming skull. I think that's a nice touch. And then for the hands, we've already talked about the articulated hands a little bit, but he's got 3 separate ones for his weapons. So first you have these. These are for your breast triggers. All right. So these are not posable, they are in fixed poses, but these are for your weapons. So you got those for the breast trigger. You got this one. This one is for the snake belly sword. So you can use those for these. And then you have this one, and this one is for the breast tomahawk. So those are your 3 sets of hands. And then lastly, we have his cape. So he's got a lot of different pieces here for his cape. He's got the chains here. This is the part that goes over his neck. And then these are the parts for the wrist and things of that nature. So you do have these chains do have a little bit of give on them, but not enough to where you want to change the pose. I probably wouldn't do that because you'd probably risk breaking it, but it does give you a little bit of give there for the chains. And then for the cape, this reminds me when I first see it a lot of the Gunbuster cape, but that one was a lot harder than this one. This one is kind of like a little bit softer, and it does have some give on it, but not enough to change the shape or anything like that. So I wouldn't chance that without breaking it, but it does give you a little bit of leeway there, so it's not super hard like the Gunbuster one was. So as you see, he has a ton of accessories. So if you're someone who loves accessories, this is definitely going to be a good one for you. Now that we're done with accessories, what I'm gonna do before I start putting all this stuff on Mazinkaiser SKL is we're gonna do his articulation, why he doesn't have anything on yet. So let's get to that next. All right, so let's take a look at Mazinkaiser SKL's articulation before we put all of his stuff on him. So first for the head, of course, he can spin this 360. So that is always good. And then he can look up, he can look down, way down. So he's got a pretty nice neck here. So he's got that, he's got the side to side, the what. All right, not really much of a chicken hawk there, but you do have that. So pretty good for the head. Then for the shoulder, he can move this up. All right, so he can move that up. It's pretty much hitting his head, but not quite. So you've got that. You can move that in and out because it's on a ball joint in here. And then this does move up and down. I probably wouldn't mess with that because that's connected to that ball joint in there. So he does have that for the arm. He can spin this 360. So he does have that room there. Now, of course, as soon as I did that, this wants to pull out. So, so you can do that, but you can push that back in. So no big problem. And there. Then for the biceps, these will not spin on the bicep. It doesn't look like it. So no, doesn't look like it will. But for the elbow, now he's kind of on a double hinge here, and then you can spin that there. So pretty good for the elbow there. So you see how that comes all the way down there. So you do have that. All right. For the forearm, this will spin 360. Just be careful with it because he's got all these spikes and stuff, but you can do that. You can also detach that for the his version of the rocket punch. I think is it rocket tornado, something like that. So, but that's what he's got for his forearm there. So as you see with the elbow, that comes in at that point right there. So that's what you've got there. Now for the wrist, he does have pretty good range of motion there, so he can pretty much do that all 360. That's on a nice little ball joint in here, so you can do that. Also, for his dual breast trigger pose, you do use a different joint in there, but we'll get to that when we get there. So, but that's what you have for the wrist. For the midsection, he can move in and out. Of course, this guy is pretty heavy. It doesn't look like it wants to move up all that much. So yeah, he's not gonna, I mean, he can lean back sort of on here, but it's not a ton there. But so most of the motion for the ab crunch is in the front. So he does have that from side to side. Let's see here. So he does have side to side, but it's not up in here. It's actually on the bottom part here. So that's where he gets his side movement there from. So, you know, considering that this part doesn't move, I think that that's a pretty good compromise there. So that's what you have for the ab section. For the waist section, pretty much since he doesn't have any major side or front skirts, he shouldn't have any issue with range of motion. But what they do for his kind of like belt here is that you can move this around. So that was one thing that I thought was missing on the Mazinger Zero from CCS Toys. So it looks like that they've made that fix there, so that can move in and out there. So that's what you have for his waist. Not too much protruding from there. This is, of course, is the back skirt there, so you do have that, but as you see, there's no skirts like on a Gundam or anything like that, so his range of motion should not be limited by anything. So then for the thigh section, he can turn this. I wouldn't try to spin this 360 because this part is higher than in the inside here. So you definitely don't want to risk breaking it, but it looks like it'll go roughly about, I'd say between 45 and 90 degrees. So that's what you've got there. Of course, you can raise this all the way up there, and then you can move this belt out of the way if you want to move that higher. So as you see, that's way more than 90 degrees. I'd probably say it's probably about, let's say 115, 120-ish. Can he do the splits? I would say that this is pretty easy since he doesn't have anything protruding. So as you can see, he can do the splits. So that's what you've got for the thigh area. All right, now for his knee bend, as you saw, we were able to lift his leg way up. Let me move this back up here like that. For his knee bend, let's bring that down. So he's got a decent knee bend. As I always say, let me move his arm out of the way, that you want this to be a V. Now, of course, because he's got so much stuff going on here in the calf part, it's not super sharp, but you know, it is good enough, I would say, especially for a figure that has all this kind of die cast and stuff in there. So that's what you've got for the knee bend. And then for the foot, the thing about this one is he's got these two panels that can flare this out. So that will kind of give you a little bit more range, because for his foot, it's on this like big old ball joint in here. And so you can kind of move this all around, but it is very tight. Not as tight as the one on Great Mazinkaiser, but it is tight. So you can stick it up like that. You can go down like that. So that's really good there. And then I guess if you move this out of the way, you can spin this 360 without it wanting to come loose. So that's what you've got there. Now, as I say that, it pops out. So let's take a look at this here. So you can screw that back on, but yeah, this is the big ball joint mechanism in here. So you've got that. So it is really nice. Now what I've noticed is, depending on how stiff this is, that like this one really doesn't want to move because this is all die cast in here. So you can move it, but it's gonna take some force to do that. So let's put him back in here real quick. So like that. So I've noticed a lot of times when it comes to standing, they don't want to stand because you have to kind of plant that ankle in. So let's move this down here. Let's plant that in there, kind of like that. And then you kind of got the room here. There you go. Let's see if we can get him to stand up straight without wanting to fall backwards there. So, all right. So that's what you have for the ankles. So that's pretty much what we have for articulation. Now let's start putting some of this stuff on him. So here is Mazinkaiser SKL. He looks really, really good. He has the breast triggers and he's got his lights on. So he does have lights for the eyes. If you happen to leave them on, don't worry about it because they're on a timer. But the button is right in there. So it's right at that neck part right here. So you can do that and then that'll turn on. So that does light up his eyes. Too bad it doesn't light up the trigger, but that light is for something else. So he looks really, really solid. I like this look for him quite a bit. So that's what you've got for Mazinkaiser SKL with the trigger. The level of detail is really, really good. The black slash gunmetal gray slash red that he has, I think looks really, really good. There's a lot of good detail work here for the spinal column. If you look at these two parts here, it almost looks like eyes back there. So he's got a lot of good detail work here in the back of the calf. So you've got all of that good detail work in there. So he looks really good. Mazinkaiser SKL. And it's interesting because usually if I'm not a fan of the series, I usually don't like the main robots in those series, but Mazinkaiser SKL is an exception for that. So he looks really good. Let me move that down, that's bothering me. My OCD is kicking in. Now, like I've said with other CCS figures, is that you really have to work on the ankles as far as trying to get him planted, because he is so heavy, because he does have so much die cast in him. You notice how anytime I kind of hit him, he does kind of like want to wobble, want to wobble back and forth. So just make sure when you're having him pose, make sure you have those ankles in here, those ball joints in there. Make sure that those are planted nice and flat for you for the feet. So that's what you've got there. So now that we've seen him with the triggers on, let's put his cape on and go from there. So here we have Mazinkaiser SKL with his cape on. Now, I'm not going to lie to you here. This was one of the most annoying things to kind of put together. He's got a lot of things that are, let's just say they tend to fall off a lot. Like some of the pieces of the cape will fall off because the hinge that those things are connected to, I don't know. I had a lot of problems once you tried to put it on him that all of those pieces started falling off. Also, the middle part here with the breast triggers, I've noticed that when you put those in, because of all of this stuff here with the capes and stuff, a lot of times if you try to put this in all the way, the breast triggers will just fall off. This will fall off, the headpiece will fall off. It's kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. But I will admit that it does look nice. So, with the chains here, he's got the chains on the wrist there. He has the Ganzato here on the back. So that is cool that you can do that as well. So he looks awesome. I will say that he doesn't have that much problem standing. Like I said, it's really just kind of getting the ankles to kind of put it in place. But outside of that, he doesn't really have that much of an issue standing. So I would say, other than some of the cape pieces falling off, the breast triggers falling off, you know, but I can forgive a lot of that stuff. There's actually a chain for the bottom part of the Ganzato there. So you can put that on. I actually forgot to put that on, but but yeah, so you have that part there, and that one just goes in here, I think. Yeah, so that just goes in there, and then you can take that one off and then put that one in there. So you do have that extra piece, but he does look really good. Now, I will say that the only issue I truly have with this, as cool as it looks, you can't see his head. So yeah, you really can't see his head hardly at all. Now, if you've got him at like a different angle, once you have him on a stand or like he's flying towards a camera or something like that, you could probably get it done that way. I think in order to have his head kind of shown, you would have to have an extension of the neck. I really don't see any other way of doing that, which is unfortunate because it does look so cool even without doing that. But yeah, you really can't see his neck, or you really can't see his face because this chain part is in the way, this part, and there's two, like this whole piece around the neck collar here with the chain, that's one piece, and then the cape here is another piece, and so both of those have to lie flat together. And that is a challenge with all the spikes and stuff that he has. So like sometimes the cape will get caught on this stuff, and it's just really, really annoying. But I would say overall, I still do like this. This is probably the way that I will have him shown in his display, probably. So, but that's what you've got for his cape. So of course here we have Mazinkaiser SKL with the wing cross. He also has the snake belly sword connected to the back like a tail. You do get the chance to see the little face in there. That is kind of creepy, but but you've got that. So he looks really, really good. Now I did, for this one, I put the extra head on, and this is the head that has the busted eye, so you can see the different colors. So that one's yellow and then that one's red, because that's supposed to be the busted one there. And of course, once you hit the light, it will come different colors than the original. The original was in blue, so you have that there. So he looks really, really good. The wings look solid. You can move them quite a bit. So let's move this guy down just so you can kind of see the extent, this extend here. So you can actually take that, and that extends all the way up like that. So that's pretty good, of course. So you've got that there. It also moves on this hinge, so you got to pull this out like this. All right. And then you can kind of move that way. So you can move that in and out too. So that does have an extension part there. So you do have that there. Now, for this guy, I'm gonna say that you definitely don't want a kid to mess with this. The reason why I say that is because there are a ton of sharp parts on this guy. So all of these here are relatively sharp. On the arms here are sharp. With the tail, things are sharp. With the big sword, those are sharp. This one with the breast triggers, because you have to extend this part out in order to get this to the actual barrel part to come out. And one of them, it came out relatively easy, but the other one, it took quite a bit of work to kind of wiggle him out of there. So, you know, you do have that. So he looks really, really good. To be honest, most of his modes look really great. So I don't know what I'm gonna do as far as how I'm gonna have him displayed, because he has so many different, so he's definitely versatile. I do like that quite a bit. So now that we've seen that, those are pretty much all of his modes. Now I have seen a video where they put the wing cross on with the cape. However, there's an extension part for the Ganzato that you cannot use with the wing cross. So I'm sure that you could get it, but it's gonna be extremely difficult. I would probably put this on first and then try to put the cape on over it. But I can already tell you, especially with all these sharp edges all over the place, that is going to be a pain in the butt. But I have seen it done. I'm not gonna try it, but if you'd like to, you can have at it. But anyways, all right, so that's what we have for the wing cross. Now we'll get into the lighting section. So as far as his lights, you've kind of seen the lights for the head in other parts of the video, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off most of my lights here so we can see what they look like in the dark. All right, so now I have most of my lights off. I just have the two side lights here, but they're not super bright. So what you can do, the button, hit that button. So of course now we see these lights. So of course this is the one that has the busted eye. So they're different colors. One side is orange, the other one is yellow. And let me see if I can actually zero in on that. Yeah, so that's what that looks like pretty much in the dark. And then you can pull this one off. So what we'll do is we'll turn off the light there. We'll pull this head out. All right, and of course that's the head for that. And then we'll put in the original head that we had. Okay, so we've got this. All right, so now we've got the original head on. And of course, if you hit the button, those lights light up pretty blue. Now I know it looks dim on the video, but they are pretty bright when you're looking at them face to face. Now, are they as bright as say like the Flame Toys Optimus Prime? I wouldn't go that far, but I think overall it's definitely better than in Great Mazinkaiser. So that's what you've got for that. And then we will do the Inferno Blaster effect part. And lastly, we're gonna put on the Flaming Skull effect, which is called the Inferno Blaster. So in order to do that, we're gonna have to remove this piece here. So what I'm gonna do, I don't really have any nails, I'm gonna pop this piece out, okay? And of course, these are all connected by magnets, so that's why that wants to fall out there. So, and then we have the Flaming Skull effect, and then you get this piece here. So this is your other push button piece there. So you're gonna take that, you're gonna take these two holes here, and then put those in those two holes there. So you're gonna put that in there just like this. Boom, all right. And then we're gonna slide that in there just like we did the other one. All right, let's see if I can get that to line up here. Sometimes it's still difficult to do stuff behind a camera. Okay, so we've got that in. And now we will turn off the lights and see what this one looks like. All right, so now we're gonna hit the button and boom, look at that. That looks pretty awesome, I must admit. I'm not really a big Flaming Skull person, but this is a really cool effect for the Inferno Blaster. And then of course I got the original head, but we can actually pop that one off if we want. And then put the one that has the busted eye on. Take that and then put that on. All right, boom. And so you've kind of got that. So that looks really, really cool, I must admit. I don't know if I would have this on display like this, but definitely for people who are into Flaming Skulls, this is gonna be your thing for sure. So that's what we've got for his lighting effects. So, you know, that's pretty cool for the lighting effect for Mazinkaiser SKL. This looks amazing. Of course, I would probably put him on a stand in order to do this one. It kind of looks weird with him just standing there. But I do like that a lot. So for those people who really like that kind of gimmick or look, I think that that looks amazing. So of course we can turn that off as well. So next is we're gonna take out Great Mazinkaiser. I'm gonna take them off of my display shelf. And we'll put them side by side, as Mazinkaiser SKL is pretty much a remold of Great Mazinkaiser. So we're gonna see if there's any differences, you know, outside of some of the aesthetics and stuff like that, but we'll see if we can spot any of the differences next. So now we're gonna do the comparison between Mazinkaiser SKL and Great Mazinkaiser. Now, the thing about this is the wings, because I wanted to have the wings on it just so I could look at the wingspans standing side by side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take Mazinkaiser SKL, we're gonna move him to the side here, and then we're gonna bring in Great Mazinkaiser here. So let's see if I can get him in here. So of course they look very, very similar. So what I'm gonna do, because I just wanted to take a look at their wingspans. So let's put Great Mazinkaiser in the front, and then let's put Mazinkaiser SKL in the back. And so you can kind of see, and this is without the wings being extended for Mazinkaiser SKL. If I extend the wings, this is gonna go all over the place. But as far as the width, they are slightly longer, Mazinkaiser SKLs are, but that's just because of like this part in the sides here. So it does look really, really solid. So, and then, so you've got that there. I just wanna make sure both of them can stand. So you've got that. And then of course I can widen Great Mazinkaisers out quite a bit there as well. So they are pretty comparable to one another. So what I'm gonna do now is, let's move them to the side. I just wanna see, get those standing side by side, kind of like that there. So they look really good together. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the backpacks off of both of them, and then we'll take a look and see if we can see any differences in the details. All right, so of course I stripped all of the stuff off of both of them. We'll actually go ahead and remove this V from Great Mazinkaiser as well, just so you can see a little bit better. So as you can see, they pretty much are exactly the same height. I didn't expect anything less from that. Of course, with the Mazinkaiser SKL, he's got this kind of extra part here where the blade is sticking out, to where Great Mazinkaiser does not have that. So you've got that. He's also got a little bit different part on the neck compared to Great Mazinkaiser. So he's got that as well. The gold accents are close to the same. The heads are slightly different, but not by a ton. Now, some people did not like the original mold of the Great Mazinkaiser face. I do, so, but you know, you've got that. And then of course you can also turn the lights on as well. Now the thing is with Great Mazinkaiser, his light, if I remember correctly, was quite weak. So what we'll do, I just want to turn off the light so we can see what they look like. And so as you can see, Mazinkaiser SKL's lights are a ton brighter than Great Mazinkaiser. So, because those are on, but it's very, very faint, to where the Mazinkaiser SKL lights, those look way, way better. So I just wanted to see what those look like in the dark there. All right. Now for the chest area, as you can see, they're still relatively the same. You still have kind of like these gold accent parts here and here, but of course, because of the skull insignia and things of that nature, you've got a lot more going on. You've got this purple accents here. I guess you could say that those are like flames. So you do have that there. As far as the midsection, you do have some piping in here, to where with Mazinkaiser SKLs you don't. So, but you can tell that that's kind of been reworked here. So even though it looks very, very similar, not exactly the same. So that's what you've got for there. For the legs, of course, Great Mazinkaiser had the two fins here, to where Mazinkaiser SKL does not have that. I would say that at least the belt loop is done a lot better. I think that helps with his articulation on Mazinkaiser SKL versus Great Mazinkaiser, even though, because his don't really move. Actually, I take that back, because his move as well, but you kind of got to take it out, to where with this one, you can just move this one up. It's not really connected to the front piece there. So I kind of like the way that they did that with Mazinkaiser SKL. It just gives it a little bit more freedom in there. So I do like that. As you can see, the gold accents here and here are the same. He's got a little bit more gold because of his fins on the sides there for Great Mazinkaiser. The knees, he's got gold accents there on the knees to where Mazinkaiser SKL does not. That is all gray there, so that's all gunmetal there. And then for the feet, he doesn't have gold here, but he does have gold in the ball joint here, and then he's got gold on the front there to where with Mazinkaiser, with great Mazinkaiser, he's kind of got the gold accents in here, but none on the sides or in the front. So I guess that's just the design. The feet are pretty much the same though, so I will give them that. So this really just depends on which one do you like more. I like them both. I think with great Mazinkaiser being my first Mazinger that I ever bought, I still like that one slightly better, but that's not because Mazinkaiser SKL is bad by any means. If you kind of like the flaming skull motif, whew, I'm glad I caught that. So it just really depends on which one is more your style. I like them both. I like them both equally. I don't think one is necessarily better than the other. It just comes to your personal taste. Both of them had quite a bit of accessories and all of that. I think that the Mazinkaiser SKL is definitely more refined, but not by much. I think the lighting, of course, is definitely better on Mazinkaiser SKL. The flaming skull kind of puts it over the top as far as the chest piece there, and the amount of weapons that he has. Even though great Mazinkaiser has quite a bit, I would say that Mazinkaiser SKL definitely has more there. So if you are a little bit more metal, you like a little bit more umph with your design and stuff, I would say definitely Mazinkaiser SKL is probably going to be for you. All things considered, I think that they did really good as far as the remolds and stuff like that. So this is the way to reuse a mold, Bandai. But anyways, so that's what we've got for that. So now we will get into final thoughts. So last thoughts on this guy. You know, this one is interesting. I really do like this Mazinkaiser SKL. I think from a cool factor, he takes the cake. He looks better than great Mazinkaiser. He looks better than Mazinger Zero. He just looks awesome. So especially if you are like a goth person or you're like really into like skulls and stuff like that, this guy is gonna be for you indeed. So I think from a coolness factor, he's definitely up there. However, he still does have some issues, even though I would say that none of the issues are major. So I would say that his ankles, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is with the CCS Toys figures, for whatever reason, it's hard to get those ankles posed in the position that you want. And I've had that with all of them except for maybe like Gunbuster. I think Gunbuster was the only one where I never had any issue with the ankles, at least not that I can remember. I'd have to go back and watch the video. But for this guy, he has the same problems that I had with great Mazinkaiser and Mazinger Zero. As you see, even when he kind of is on this rotating base, he'll kind of rock back and forth. And what that is because for whatever reason, I just cannot get that weight disbursement correct. I don't know why, I don't know how. So, but I think overall it still looks good. I think with the winged cross, with the serpent sword, with the big, what is it, Gonzato or whatever, the breast triggers, he has a plethora of accessories. So if you're someone who likes accessories, flame parts, all that kind of stuff, this one is definitely going to be one for you. I would say that a glaring issue is the breast triggers. The breast triggers, for whatever reason, because those are connected by magnets and you have to put it in this little slot that he has right next to the skull. And for whatever reason, anytime you touch that thing is falling off. And it is extremely annoying. It is extremely annoying to deal with. And no matter what you're doing, I would say, so that's a definite issue that I have with this guy. Also, the cape, for as cool as the cape looks, the cape may not be worth all the effort that it takes to put him on. I mean, getting that lined up correctly, and then with the chains and everything, and trying to get it positioned correctly is definitely a hassle. And I don't know if it's really worth all the effort that it takes to put that thing on. However, from a coolness factor, yet again, it looks amazing. So it just kind of depends on what look you really want with this guy. I mean, the staff, or the tomahawk, the breast tomahawk, I think is what it's called. That thing is awesome. So he has a plethora of weapons, a plethora of accessories. The wings look great. The flaming skull for the Inferno attack thing that he has, that one is amazing as well, especially with the lights. It does look amazing, even though I'm not really into like the skull motif all that much. And as you see, this thing is on a timer as well, so the lights just went off. So, but let's see if we can turn that back on real quick. All right, there we go. So even though I'm not really one for that, I will admit when something looks cool, whether or not it's my taste or not. And you know, while I was doing this review, I decided to go back and watch Mazinkaiser SKL. And I watched it. It's okay. It's not my favorite. I mean, it seems a little bit incomplete. And I mean, if you just kind of want nonstop mayhem with like a paper thin plot, then Mazinkaiser SKL is definitely going to be for you. I know that they do have a manga out, and I think that might have fleshed things out a little bit more than the OVA does, you know, but I would say that especially if you are a Mazinger fan and you haven't watched it, I would say just go ahead and give it a watch. It's really only about an hour to an hour and a half long. So I think that it's well worth it. So for this guy, I think out of 10, I've kind of been going back and forth on what I'm going to give this score for him. I would probably say that I'm going to give him an 8.9. He's not quite 9 territory, but he's up there. He's up there. I think that if they can kind of get some of these glaring problems that I have, especially with the ankles, having the triggers fall off every 5 seconds, and the cape, I think that this guy would be in the 9 to 9.5 territory for sure. With the amount of accessories, with the lights that he has, the presentation as far as the box art and all of that stuff, everything else is A+. I would just say as CCS Toys goes forward that they just need to work on kind of making some refinement, especially if you're going to keep reusing the great Mazinkaiser mold. You could still get a couple of different molds out of this guy if you really wanted to. You could get the Mazing Emperor G. You could probably get a Mazinkaiser out of this one as well, the regular Mazinkaiser. You know, so it'll be interesting to see what CCS Toys has in store for us going forward. But I think that this one is definitely a really good one, especially just from the coolness factor alone. This guy like goes crazy as far as that is concerned. But anyway, so that's what we've got for you today. So thank you guys for watching the video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, we are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. I think I'm like roughly at like 160 something. So I may be a little bit more than that. I'd have to check my subscriber count, but we're getting close. So if we can hit that by the end of the year, that would be great. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to try to have this out before Christmas, or at least on Christmas, and we'll get that going. And I might be able to do one more video by the end of the year, or I may just wait until right around New Year's to release it. So I'm kind of going back and forth on that because this is a really busy time for me. But anyway, so thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.